So, this is the Baja Wrangler 2 mobility scooter, and I thought I'd update you on a few other things about it. I have found that the time lost over 30 minutes over the last week, which is unfortunate, but I don't really leave it on the time all that much. Couple other things. If you look up here with the stitching, you can see that doesn't set flat. See how my finger goes up? You can see that there are some imperfections with the seat. If you look across the top here as well, you can see some things. You can see there some things aren't quite right, and I think some of this may be in a little bit of shadow. And again, down here, this really isn't quite right. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're real issues, but definitely some cosmetic things there. Now then, something else I want to mention. These lights in the back, the brake lights, if I'm going forward or back and I stop, the brake lights will come on. If I squeeze the brake handle, they do not come on. So yes, they only work when it's detecting your stop. I'm sure it's to keep the battery from losing power if you're sitting there stopped. It's not going to just leave the brakes on while the scooter's on. Also, something else to know. I should grab some light here so we can see. All right. So, aside from these hooks up, or these knobs up here to disengage the motors and therefore the electronic brake from the wheels, there's some hooks here you'll see. Well, I'm not entirely sure what those are for. Scooter has been doing pretty well. You can see I have over 28 miles, almost 29 miles on it at this time. It has been doing well. It has gone through some sidewalk tests, which I have a sidewalk test in a prior video, a little sidewalk and street for you. You can see how it did in that video. Yes, those things are all going well. Something that maybe isn't going so well, you notice this armrest is up. It's kind of stuck up. And the reason for that is this bolt here is going to have to go up through this cross piece here so that the bolt will clear this stop down here. I don't know how this all of a sudden happened, and I can see the same thing happening. Actually, I don't want to lift it up all the way. With this other one, the bolt is too far down, so I'm going to have to address those issues. That is unfortunate, but I want to just see what is going on there. Also, just so you guys are aware, battery charging. I had previously said it takes 8 hours to charge. I'm being given to understand that while it may charge in 8 hours, I should leave it on for 12 hours. Not 13 hours or 15 hours, not 11 hours, 12 hours. And apparently if you deviate from that, it doesn't do wonders for the battery. So I'm in no hurry to replace the batteries, which means I guess that's what I'll be doing, is charging it for exactly 12 hours. I guess timers are in order because you forget and things like that. Well, I think it's going okay. I'm still, my OCD, I do see that the mirrors definitely do not match. You may notice that the scooter's indoors again because it's cold outside. You'll see it various indoor shots. Excuse me. Not all my videos are outdoor shots. Something else, while they do mention about the seat being a reclining seat, this is the recline. That's as far as it goes. And part of that is so that, we've got to get more light back here. Part of that is so that the seat and the handle clear each other. You can see here, so you want to make sure that handle on this basket clears the seat. So that is why there. Pride is sending out a technician to look at this, of what's going on with the set screws here and there. He's going to do the armrest. I could do those, but since he's coming out specifically for those, I wouldn't want him to be disappointed. And apparently they want to check some things with the battery and things. While they're here, I'm going to ask them why the scooter is towed out. It would seem like it should be towed in a little bit, but I've noticed some ATVs are also towed out, so maybe there is some logic to that. Since I got the question, these are reflectors. They do not light up, unlike on some other scooters. So there's that. We did some lights outdoors, but we've never done them indoors. So here you go. You can see they put out fairly bright light in the front, the rear. Those are separate from the brake lights. So let's see how long my hands are. There's the brake lights. They come on for a bit after you move the scooter. Something else I've noticed. Let's look under the scooter a moment. So the batteries sit up here above this plate here. The straps hold the batteries down. Make sure that they don't fall through the bottom of it. There's all these big holes in there, and even though there are rubber mats on there, I found that one of the straps had fallen through. And I guess it's not the end of the world, but you don't want that to get caught on anything. As I'm down here, I'm also noticing that there is a height adjustment. You can see there's a second hole, I guess, for the pivot for the spring, or the mount for the spring. So in theory, you could lower this if you so desired. And I'm told, not that I have any need to do this, but I am told you could also lower the seat post. I'm not sure that would actually work, but that's what I am told. In any case, some things to think about. Yeah, it's not new anymore. It's been ridden all over. Now, some people claim that aside from the XLR charging port here, you get some light on that. So, the XLR charging port here, that there is a charging port down at the base by the battery. So let's look. So, charging port, let's see, can it be in there? Obviously not. Let's look all down here. No charging port, no charging port anywhere in here. Maybe we should look on the other side. Charging port, and I'm going to go with there is no such beast. Now, just to be thorough, perhaps we should take the seat off. So I took the seat off, obviously, sitting over there. Take these screws out. Just 4 little finger screws. Well, the batteries doesn't set correctly, but I pulled the cover off. Now let's look. No charging port anywhere. So we're going to go with no, there is no such. And I'll fix the battery so it sits flat. Something else to note, if the scooter is turned on at the key, it can go forward, reverse. You can change modes, you can set the time, whatever you want. Unless we plug it in. Now it's still turned on. You can see this stuff. I can no longer do anything. Wherever it is, I can't turn on the lights, no blinkers, no set the time, no horn, no nothing. All it does is turn on the backlight for you. So something to be aware of. You cannot charge and do anything else at the same time. Well, manual things like you could, if you had the parking brake set, you could release or you adjust the handles, move the seat, things like that. But nothing with the control panel. Nothing on as far as electronic functions on the tiller will work. If I turn the key off, the only difference now is the key position. Nothing as far as the electronic controls. So off or on when it's charging, no electronic controls. So be aware of that. I do want to point out again, there is no pillow top. It's just one cushion on this, both on the seat bottom and on the back. Now they'll tell you and show you in the video, and it was in the earlier versions of this pillow top, but this one is not. Now whether the seat material will last longer or not, that is yet to be seen, but I do want to point that out so you're aware of that. They also talk about regenerative braking, and you know, you're slowing down from at most 11 miles an hour, so it stops almost instantly. I don't know how much regenerative braking there can really be. I mean, it's possible you could get some tiny bit of regenerative braking, but really don't count on that. When you are transporting your scooter, this hook right here, this hook right here in the rear, these are, let's see if we can get it on here. I shine that there. These are your your rear tie downs. There we go. And in the front, these are your front tie downs. You can see the indicators on there, and that secures your scooter while it's in transit. Now, just something of note on mine, this front panel, it just clips in. There are no screws, and mine was a little loose. It was basically just sitting there rattling away. Eventually it irritated me enough that I found out what was going on and snapped it into place. When you are transporting or even loading and unloading your vehicle, if you're not removing the seat, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and tilt your tiller forward. And then let's see if I can do this with one hand. Tilt your seat all the way flat. So go forward and flat, make sure your headrest is collapsed. You can bring your tiller back right over the seat, like so. And obviously if the armrest was down, both of them were down, it'd be great to load, unload, transport, whatever. This little lever here releases the tiller so it can move. Now you can just almost straight bring the back up and then use the lever to recline the seat, meaning move it from not totally falling forward to just slightly back of straight up. Now obviously I got my scooter with a safety belt, which I don't use much myself obviously, but I recommend having. Obviously the people who would need a scooter, if you're going to be riding this around on some surface that's not flat or smooth, you should probably have a safety belt to buckle you in. In case you're wondering, this is just the standard seat. I believe it's 18 by 17. I think it's 18 by 16, but it's just a standard seat. I think it's got a 30-inch belt on it. So just the standard basic belt. If you're a larger person, you might need something bigger. If you're under 200 pounds, this will probably fit you just fine, unless you're some very short person at that weight. So the technician from Pride just left. He tightened up the armrest using the set screw and tightened up the elbows, also with the set screw on both sides. He did raise the armrests up a little bit. We also talked about charging. So apparently the battery needs to go through about 15 full charge cycles, and it needs to charge overnight for each of those as part of its conditioning, and that adds range. Other than that, we should be all good to go. While the technician was here, we looked and looked for another XLR charging port, but we did not find one. Now, I don't know why that USB port does not appear to be charging. We may try that with something else here in a moment. The clock lost 15 minutes again. So there's the difference on there. I don't know what's going on with that. So that's going to have to be addressed. So these bolts, you want to adjust. You loosen the nut. You tighten you screw the bolt further into this cross pivot to adjust how the armrest sits, because the bolt head will rest against this piece here. So you want the armrest to lean back just a little bit to help hold you in the chair. I don't know if you can see that. The USB port is backlit, but that certainly was not helping me in the daylight. Now, I realize that this is not the same cable I was using earlier, but that cable earlier did charge another phone. I'm going to try it with a different camera, with this camera actually. And Well, the light is blinking on this camera.
Was that delicious?
Right on my phone. So on my phone, let's see. So, and it shows its chart. It does show that it is charging. And again, time on here versus time on the scooter. So, all right, well, I think that covers that. But again, Baja Wrangler 2, thanks for watching. Have a great day.